till this is okay. That's live. Close this one.
Yeah, if there was any other one.
That's just the black parts.
That's
are
the
both sides of him. Oh no, the kaisel is me.
That's the, I mean, this is the kaisel?
Yeah, it's just the background of my computer. Oh, no, it's gone. Whoops.
Yes, you.
Yeah, this is. It's the background of. The background of my computer was.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Ura? Interesting.
Ooh.
It says Ura has entered the waiting room.
Okay. Baruch Hashem, good. Baruch Hashem. Ura is on.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, it's Rabbi Biederman. Okay.
I don't know if he sees us.
This is. This is. I think. Pretty sure they could hear us also. It's 12 o'clock.
I made it 12 o'clock.
8 minutes. Hello.
It's 6 minutes yet.
Yeah.
The Parsha Chukas starts off with the union of the Chayk of the Paraduma. And Rashi puts it down that even though it's a kasha, we don't know what it stands for, what the purposes are. Well, the end is, it's Exevan HaShemayim, and you mechuyev to do it. It's not just words mechuyev to do it. There's big teachings to us behind the achayk. We see Meferish in Parshas Veschanan, by Sheni, it says, Lei memaditi eslo chukim mishpotim kasher tzivani Hashem, right? Ushmartem v'asisem ki hi chochmaschem uvinaschem le'enei oamim, asher yishmu es kol hachukim ha'ele, they'll hear the chukim, v'omru rak am chochom b'novoin hagoy hagodol hazeh, what a smart nation it is. They're going to hear the chukim, not the mishpotim. Okay, so obviously there are different concepts of what makes something, but basically the Rosh Hashanah gives the partial understanding of this, that in mitzvahs or in actions that people understand, they don't get wow. For instance, I'll give you Moshe an hour because he also gives it a medical case. Guy's been taking 2 aspirin a day every time he has a headache, and it don't go away. And he's terrible. Finally decides to call the doctor and ask him, what do I do, doc? I take 2 aspirin, it don't help. He says, take 3. And all of a sudden it helps. And what do you call? Will anybody say, oh, what a great genius the doctor is? No. Anybody could have figured that out. You say, try 3. What are you playing along with 2? But what happens if the doctor would tell you to stand on your head for 5 minutes? And that'll make the headache go away. Then you'll say, oi, what a goyim the doctor is. He knows the body so well that standing on the head takes the pain away. You understand it? You understand what he means by Sרגא now? Right? Elavos, what I don't understand, I'm willing to give great credit for. So chukim is the same thing. Willing to give chukim. So what is the point of a chayk? Chayk works. That's the thing. It gives Yerushalayim, Yiraves Hashem. It gives B'tochen B'Hashem, depending on the particular chayk that we're talking about. But that's what it does. And in Mele, if a person gets to be those things, to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's a wonderful thing. So then let's say, so what's the problem with a chayk? Okay, that point maybe it's not a problem. But it don't make sense. Okay, don't make sense. Oh yes, everybody, don't we do the same thing? The husband and the wife have a fight, right? What does the husband bring home? Flowers, right? And not just flowers from Costco. He had to go out to a true florist, and he got 2 dozen or a dozen long stem red roses. Cost him $100 at least, right? And he brings it home to his wife, and his wife says, oh, thank you so much for this beautiful roses and stuff. Now we got to find a place where to put it. But nobody has a vase that big. The biggest vase we have is this big, and you put it in, it tips the vase over. So we can't use them for a vase. So, but we have one of the garbage pails that we use. It stands, that round one. So we put it in the water, we put it in the thing. The red roses are still on top of the garbage pail. It looks wonderful. Where are we going to put it? Now, we eat, during the week, we eat in the kitchen. We don't eat in the dining room. but where's the nicest place going to be? The dining room on the table. So she puts it there, dining room on the table, and every time she walks by, which is about once a day, and she sees the flowers and says, my husband loves me, and wonderful. And Shalom and Al Yisrael. Okay, good. Comes Shabbos, finally. Baruch Hashem, look at the flowers. The guy says, can you take the flowers off the table? I can't see you. Right? You go to a chasana, you notice that by the men's table, the flowers are way up here. Right? And by the women's table, the flowers are way down there. So you can talk over the flowers. But if you sit, but the flowers are in the way, it's nikiyichas. Okay? So they take it off the table, my beautiful flowers. And the next day ready, it starts to fall off the petals, and it starts to smell the water, and we have to dump it. Okay? So what happened for this $100? How much hanoyah was there involved in this, that they got or not? Very little. Wouldn't it have been better if he bought a gift of a trinket that he could use in the kitchen for $100? He said, a special kind of can opener, can, whatever it is. Something that she can say, I made my life easier. Why did he come up with flowers? Elavos, I think it means, I don't mind wasting money to please you. I know you like flowers, and I know it's going to please you. I buy you flowers, even though we have no anoia from the flowers. And nothing's going to be with the flowers, but I know you feel that I spent the money to wasted the money actually, so you can feel good. So what's wrong with the Bein Shalom? The Bein Shalom said, I want from you a paradume. It's going to cost kol hain the alma, right? $1 billion, and it's your job to get it for me. And the show, and Nevada, we all say, Bein Shalom, gladly, here's all the money I have. Whatever it is, you need a paradume. That's what I'm going to pay for. Where do you have it now? The closest thing we can talk about is a little of an essay. Probably that, because as it keeps splitting and everything else, no matter, there's no such thing as a cheap set for anything anymore. So Mamela, it costs a lot of money, but that's my showing of love to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I want to show HaKadosh Baruch Hu I love him. I'm only to spend money for mitzvah. What are you complaining about? Okay? So therefore I believe that can't be the thing that's bothering Chazal. So let's go, or let's say this is what I think is bothering Chazal. The Gemara brings a mice with Dom ben Nesina, who was a goy, that he had a paradum, and the Rebbe Shem gave it to him because he was Mikayim and Kivirav aim to an exceptional degree, and the Rebbe Shem gave him a paradum, and he lost by being Mikabed Aviv, he lost the value of $500,000 or something like that of profit that he could have made on something. So he said to them, I know that the only reason I have this paradum is because the Rebbeinu Shalom gave it to me for that thing. And all I'm asking from you is the money I lost over there. Right? But when did he have to buy it from Dom ben Nesina? Do any of you guys know? You ever hear this story, by the way, from Dom ben Nesina? Probably, so I figured you heard it. So when did you have to buy it from Dom ben Nesina? What is the psul by a paraduma? If you put a weight on it. So as soon as it's born, I can't trust Dom ben Nesina that he's not going to forget himself and put a weight down on a parah. So I must get out of his house that first day that's born. And that, he says, I know I can charge you kol hain the alma, I can charge you all the money in the world for this paraduma. When does it become eligible to be a parah? When does an egel become a parah?
You put weight on it.
When he,
You put weight on it.
No, that's absurd. When does it become? When does an ego become a pora? So it's an egla. When did an egla become a pora?
3.
Huh? It's a couple of years. 3 years. That means we got to watch it for that many years, and we hope that it won't get 2 black hairs in it. I'm asking you. You guys have your kid sisters and kid brothers, right? What color hair were they born with? And what color hair do we have now? Okay, so then obviously hair changes, right? So the fur or the body, the hair on the paraduma can change too. We know about a bunch of paradumas that were hanging around in the world a few years ago, right? What happened to them? Where are they? They weren't paradumas. They were good for the first day, first week, first month. Oh, it's a good paradum, but it doesn't last to be a paradum. So therefore, you're investing all that money, kol the alma, on a chance. We don't do that. There's a gadach, a svasemis, and there's a kasha here. Not over here, I think on the Gemara of Dom Benesina. Here's the kasha. Is there no one in Klal Yisrael that we can bring a raya how to do kibbut avayim, that we had to go find a guy in Ashkelon to tell us how to do kibbut avayim? Isn't that a big kasha? I mean, you're trying to brag about what to the middle of doing kibbut avayim. You can't find a Jew. You have to go find a guy. So he answers that it wants to show that even a goy that reaches the madrege, or what do you call it, will not spend the money on a mitzvah that he doesn't understand. A mitzvah he understands, kibbut avayim, he understands. So therefore he's willing to spend kol the alma on that. Paradum is a mitzvah he don't understand, he won't spend the money. Right? But I can say a little different, that something that's poshut, we would spend money on. Things that it's a gamble, I'm not going to spend money on a gamble. That'd be crazy. So that's what I think is the thing that's bothering. Right? That somehow doesn't strike me yet enough on that. And other things that we're talking about, that paraduma, all right, it's metamet tameim, metayat tameim, metamet tahir. It's one of the conditions that they say the schwer zach to understand. I understand this very well. I got no problem understanding it. When a person is Isaac in Kiruv, that's his job. He's going to find that he has to watch himself from getting involved in the things that the people he's mikarev is, being mikarev on what they do. So therefore, automatically, we understand that it's metamet tahirim and it's metamet tameim. It's a kasha. Not a big deal to understand that. Okay. So it came up, I come out in the thing that really is the 3 and 7 that they can't understand. In other words, I get spritzed on anyway, and if I didn't do it on the 3rd and the 7th day, was the combination of that, like could be it was 2 weeks later already, so it's got to be the 3rd and the 7th day of my taira that it's got to be. And if I don't do it, even though l'chayri got sprinkled, what difference does it make what day it is? That is the thing they don't understand. Maybe, I don't know. I'm saying, but these are the things, it's not such a shver zach. That's the main thing I'm trying to show you. And yet, there are little things that we can't understand, and that should bother us if we can't figure out an answer for it. Okay. Says a modern Loshen, guy touches a mess, so he's tummy for 7 days. He does on the 3rd and 5th day and 7th day, then he comes to. He doesn't become toya. So anybody who touches a mess, right, and he didn't have sprinkled it, it's Mishkan Hashem Timeh. It was Metamed and Mishkan Hashem. What Mishkan Hashem? What are you talking about? So Rashi says, obviously he's talking about if you went into the Mishkan afterwards. And therefore, if you want to become Toher, so you're going to be Tomei. But why does he put it in a way that it doesn't say that? You know, it's just another word that he could have put it in, and we'd all understand what he's talking about. Only Rashi for that. So I want to tie it. The Pshat is we're talking about a person who's a Torah, and he became Tomei. And he says, you know, hey, what's wrong with saying he's a Tomei? I don't have any problems. I'll be Tomei. I'll get a job which has to do with dead people. I'll get a what he calls, have a panose that goes that way, and I can do other things. Why is there a problem? No, it's Migdash Hashem Timei. A guy who's willing to live betumeh, meaning he doesn't desire to tire anymore. So he's metam his brain. This thing, this mind that he has, that it's a Migdash Hashem. He was metamet and saying, like, I don't mind living betumah. You should mind living betumah. Otherwise, we find in Mamish, in the tzaddikim used to do chul and altaris hakodesh. You used to eat. What do you eat in the chul and altaris hakodesh? Your tummy. What are you eating there? But man, I can't. There's being Torah all the time. I can't do it. Okay, that's the point.
A person shouldn't get a job in a cemetery?
What?
A person shouldn't get a job in a cemetery?
I'm not saying he shouldn't. I mean, a guy needs a panosa, But I would think that you want to show a picture of a guy who is a lo yutzlach, he usually show a picture of a guy that's a ditch digger. Now, and B'zman hazeh, I don't know if that's true, but that's when the old time you saw a guy, Ibigi Begin, carrying a shovel on his back, and he's the ditch digger. But now, you come along with the cement, things that break the cement, and you got, what do you call these machines that dig out the hole, and I think now it's a professional job, it's a thing there. Okay. Right after Paraduma, it brings the Maaseh of Miriam dying. I have no reason to tell you why Miriam died. There was absolutely no reason for her to have died. The woman did not die in the Midbar, so she had no reason to die. About Bensham, for whatever cheshbenis he has, they took her away. Anyway, so it tells us that Rashi brings down that just like a chatas is mechapel, because a poraduma technically is a chatas, so is misa sadikim mechapel. I want to say, you don't find that the chatas is mechapel. I mean, not the poraduma anyway. Poraduma is a hechsher taira. If you do the third and the seventh day and then go to the mikveh, you will be Torah. But I got to go to the mikveh. I can't just do third and seventh day, sprinkle it, and I'll be Torah. I'm not Torah. I got to go to the mikveh yet. So therefore, I'm mechuyev to go to the mikveh. So if that's the case, it's only a hechsher taira. So that's what I think it means. You're right, it's not a taira. If you understand the laws that we had from an old person dying, the laws that we have, a lot of times you say, he's an old man already, big deal, he lived a life already, he lived enough, right? Obviously the person who died doesn't think that way, believe me, he doesn't think that way. But people feel that it's not a big zach about that. But he's not in the world anymore. You could have learned so much from him that still exists. I didn't learn it. I messed up on that, and I can't bring it back. So therefore, if you don't realize what a mess is, So then you're not tired. You don't get back to it. They're saying, "Oh, I gotta become like that person. I gotta do like this. I gotta make up for his loss in the world." You don't say that. Why? Because hey, it doesn't bother me. So that's what I think is the meaning of it. It's only retire. It's only mechapel if you understand the loss. Okay. Now, we have with water the same thing we have with food. Find a Gemara that says that lechem sholu kahogim, basar sholu lo kahogim. In Tehillim Ayin Ches, it says that bread, they also ask lo kahogim. So, what do you mean the Gemara is going to click on Tehillim? Doesn't make sense, right? The pshat is this way, I think. A person, yeshiva bacha, right? We all expect, we eat breakfast 9 o'clock in the morning, let's say, right? 8:45, whatever it is. And we last till about 1 o'clock. And then we don't go down and eat lunch. And then we last to supper. What happens is one day they'll tell you, there's no lunch today. When will you get hungry? At 1 o'clock or at 11 o'clock? 11 o'clock. Right? Even though it's not logical. The food's in your stomach, normally you're not hungry, so why are you going to be hungry today? But that's the nature of people. Right? So therefore it's like a hoigen. When I asked for the money, when I asked for the food, I wasn't really hungry yet. Or I shouldn't have been hungry yet. My chesoron emunah, my chesoron betochen, that I'm not going to get lunch today, made it that I'm hungry now. That's a chesoron. If you got to the point you're hungry, made up lunchtime, 1 o'clock, fine. I understand why you're complaining. So by the water could be the same thing. No, the bear stopped. As soon as she died, it stopped. It takes a few hours to bury her. I'm sure that there were big hespedim for her. What do you think? The good car you saw came to the Levaya. I mean, there was a big Levaya, and they buried her, right? So there's no water all that time. In fact, there was no water probably even later, because the Rebbeinu Shem tells Moshe and Aaron, they're sitting shiva, right? Sister died, they got to sit shiva. They're sitting shiva, and the Rebbeinu Shem says, why are you involved in your own troubles? Go give water to my children. So they went out to give water. So obviously the water took a long time. Maybe half a day, third of the day, quarter of the day, whatever it is. So the people were hungry, thirsty already when they saw no water. They didn't wait until they actually became thirsty. That doesn't happen for several hours. But right now I'm thirsty now. That's the time on them. That's why there's no complaint about it. And we don't find it to Rebbeinu Shem a tinus to Klal Yisrael, even though they use such terminology. That's a terminology because they're asking in Moshe and Aaron, give us water. You can't, we need water now. So now we have to understand the Aveira that Moshe and Aaron did that killed them. B'nishim tells them, what I want you to do, I want you to take the stick. The question which stick we're talking about, I think this is the stick of Moshe, or the stick of Aaron. But it's definitely what he called the first time it could have been the stick of Moshe. Saying this one could be a stick of Aaron. The question because it says L'fnei Hashem. What was Moshe's stone doing L'fnei Hashem? Aaron's was put L'fnei Hashem. So therefore it's there. Okay? He says, go take the stick and gather all the people and talk to the stone. Okay. Do you think Moshe didn't listen? Of course he listened. And he talked to the stone, and he talked to the stone, and he talked to the stone, and he was talking to the wrong stone. So the stone didn't give any water. Now, do you understand? The Rabbeinu Shalom tells the Navi to do something, and then he's going to make it that the Navi can't do it. That's what you're telling me happened. Rabbeinu said, speak to the stone, and all of a sudden there's no stone. So how am I supposed to speak to it? Right? So we got a problem. So obviously Rabbeinu Shalom is out to get Moshe Rabbeinu. Right? Because usually you can help a Navi. Go over to the tongue, talk to the stone, this and that. That's what the Rabbeinu wants to show. They want to show the godless of the Navi. The godless of the Ness. And here, he wants to kill Moshe Rabbeinu. You know? But why did Moshe not listen? I mean, of course, to get to speak to another 48 stones. Because the people started making fun. Moshe Rabbeinu, what difference does it make which stone do you speak to? Right? Doesn't. If stones don't give water. So if you're going to have a nest, might not give me which stone's going to give you the nest. So it says that Moshe Rabbeinu got angry, and he told them, Mamrim, in other words, that you're not good people. Do you think I can bring water from any stone I want? Moirim, he called him. Not Mamrim. Moirim, Hamin Hatzela Hazen Hatzela Chamayim. Can I take water out of this stone? I can't just take water. But anyway, Achil Hashem is brewing, right? And the Bnei Hashem says we're going to do something, we're going to have water, and there's no water. So Moshe Rabbeinu, without HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is you and I. Like, we have no power to make water come out of stones, and neither does Moshe. But Moshe was Mispal of Rabbeinu Shalom. We're having a Chil Hashem coming up here. And he knew that hitting the stone, I can give you a reason why he held that way in a minute. He knew that he hit the stone, so he hit the stone. The first time he hit it, only a little bit of water came out, so he hit it a second time, and then all of a sudden, a lot of water came out. So what do we see from this story? We see one thing that was brought down in Rashi in Parshas Bereshis, not in Parshas Bereshis, but in Bereshis by the Lech Lecha, that it says all the things that Avraham Avinu did personally, God did personally to us for the Malachim. In Vayera, I'm sorry, Parshas Vayera. But the water, he says, Yukach nomat mayim. Take some water, the water will be given to you or something. You know, it's not that he brought it. Okay. And for that, the water was given through a shliach. Okay, I can hear that. Let me ask you, Moshe Rabbeinu is a bad shliach. The Rabbeinu Shem gives the Torah through Moshe Rabbeinu, right? He makes him Kriyas Ramsuf. It's his Mitzrayim. He's a good shliach. So what was wrong that he did with your shliach? Because the shliach has his own mind. Once I give it over to the shliach will do what he wants to do. And that's what happened over here. The Rebbeinu Shem gave him a job. I want you to speak to the stone. He spoke to the stone. But instead of keeping up, speaking, he finally gave in and hit it. So then the Rebbeinu Shem says, what do you do? Okay, so that's what he did by himself. Now, why Taki would he hit it? You know what the Rebbeinu Shem wanted to do? What was the Kiddush Hashem? There's 4 Lashonos. They're not all here. Talk about Kiddashtem, Meyantem, Leyamantem, Marisem. There's 4 Lashonos of Averos. They did 4 Averos by hitting the stone. Rabbeinu Shem wanted to show the world, or the Torah, or the Yidden themselves, that once, even a stone that gets hit once, next time you just got to talk to it and water comes out. So you Yidden, if I hit you once, you were punished once, I shouldn't have to have a second time. Right? And therefore, that's what he wanted to prove. Now that's the Rabbeinu Shalom, who really sees who the Klal Yisrael is and how holy they truly are. But Moshe Rabbeinu has trouble with them. Every time he says something, he got somebody arguing with him. You know? So these guys are really, you know, they're not good guys. They're still have trouble with them. Right? What I hold they need is a good another shot in the head. So I really want to give him a stick. But the Rebbe said, speak to him. But when you get into the position where you're a tumult, don't forget, he is a tumult, he's an oval. Sister died. Right? So whatever you're going to say, he's not in the best of thoughts in mind. The thing is not working. He sees that Chil Hashem is brewing, so he asks for hitting of the stones. What's wrong with that? But he asked for it because he didn't really believe in the Rabbeinu Shalom, that Klal Yisrael is ready for speaking. So therefore, lo yamanten bi, you didn't trust me. I told you Klal Yisrael is ready for speaking. You don't have to hit him. I said, okay, the shadows, what should they have done? Obviously, the Rebbeinu Shalom stacked the deck, as he called it, against them. What should they have done? Okay, so they obviously mentioned they wanted to go into Eretz Yisrael. Now, why would they not want him to go into Eretz Yisrael? Well, this is a theory. I can't really answer it. The Shevet Shimon, ultimately, these years, next Sedron basically, is going to lose a lot of people. It's going to go down from 59,000 to 22. And Shevet Shimon supplies the Melamdei Tanoikis and the Seforim to Klal Yisrael. And we can't exist without Shevet Shimon. But Shevet Shimon was decimated. Nobody left in there. So we need a new Chalukis Haaretz. We can't give them a small piece of land because the Benisham is going to make Nisim that in the next generation, the 2 generations, the 3 generations down, the birth rate will be so big that they'll be as big as ever they were before. We see this by us. We saw after Hitler, Yimach Shemoy, right? But we see a lot of Frumei Yidden out there. Conservatism is really dead. Reform is Goyim, right? The only Jews are left is us. Right? And the former conservative said, by the year 2000, there won't be one Orthodox Jew alive. So therefore, obviously, we proved the lie. We proved the lie because Eliyahu Hanavi was very good. That was a big tshuva movement. Yes, there is a tshuva movement. And it's a big one. But it doesn't make the number of Jews we have. That's because they have, Baruch Hashem, a high birth rate. When people had 4 or 5 kids, and now they have 10 and 15 kids. Whatever it is, Baruch Hashem, Klal Yisrael is growing. Not because we did anything to bring back anybody, we just have more people getting born. So the Rabbeinu Shalom makes up for the time when we get decimated. Hitler knocked us off, so now we're as big as we were at the time of Hitler. We have about 16 million Jews that profess to be Jews. The trouble is there's a lot more Jews in the world. What happens is every year, less and less people who were counted as Jews till now count themselves as Jews. So they put down on the paper what religion you are or something, what nationality, and they put down American or white or whatever it is, and they don't put down the word anymore, Jew. Okay, so therefore, we lost all those people, but they're still around. And they're intermarried or whatever it is there, but they're still around. But we have the number by Frumei Yidden, or at least by Jews that say, I am a Jew, even though they're not religious, but I am a Jew. That we have. Okay. Even though Moshe Rabbeinu was just told he was going to die, he doesn't stop being a leader. He has a job to do. His job is to bring the Jews as close to Eretz Yisrael as God will let him. So one thing he has to go to Melech Edom and tell him, hey, we want to go. We want to go through your land and whatever it is there. It's a funny lashon that he speaks to them. It says, Koyoma achicha Yisrael. Now with this your brother Yisrael talking. Brother Yisrael, you like to be brother to Esau? So why are you telling him your brother Yisrael is talking? In a way, what he's telling Esau is, you and I are the same. Twins. Born at the same time, the same stomach. And therefore, you think you live by Cherev, you have by all those things, I have them too. And I think that. To give you a moshul, if you ever heard of it, Murder Incorporated. Murder Incorporated was the murder arm of the mafia. In other words, when the Italians wanted someone killed, they called Murder Incorporated, who were all Jews. Right? So we are Rishoyim. We can do as much as you. Like Trotsky is as good as Lenin. No point in that. He's a better person, but as far as what I can do, I can destroy the world. No question about it. And I think you guys don't know what Trotsky and Stalin were, but all right. But okay, that's you'll have to figure out. Okay. Anyway, Edom didn't let him go, and they can't touch Edom. Now, it's a funny thing. Back in Parshas Bishalach, it says that the Benishim didn't take him out of Splishtim, ki korefu. They'll see a war, and there won't be a war, and they'll go back to Mitzrayim. Here you have a war, and you don't see, and there's no war. The Wadi came out with all their weapons, and they put up a thing not letting us go through, right? And we just go away. So why wasn't God afraid of desertion at that time? Because they saw the Nisim in the Midbar for 40 years. I was talking about this at the end of the 40 years. They saw for 40 years Nisim in the Midbar. They had no question God could do anything. The first time, when in Vayeretz Plishtim, they didn't have that sureness in themselves that the Benishim could do it. So therefore, the Benishim had to take him, not the Vayeretz Plishtim. But Lamaisa now he wasn't worried about it. Anyway, Moshe Rabbeinu takes up, he's told to take Aharon up. Now we lost two leaders. We lost Miriam on Rosh Chodesh Nisan. We lose Aharon Rosh Chodesh Av. And, the big leaders are going. The only one left is Moshe. They're scared. Right? Anyway, we went up to Meberiva, and there's, and Vayiru kol Eida ki gov Aharon, they saw that Aharon died. Vayivku es Aharon shleishim yom kol beis Yisrael. All the people of Klal Yisrael cried for Aharon 30 days. Okay. By Moshe Rabbeinu, it only says the men. The women didn't cry for Moshe Rabbeinu 30 days. Someone asked the big kasha to me. Says when we have a gadol that dies, right, we all go to the levaya. On one corner, you have the Beis Yankov girls. And they're all crying like their hearts out. So how do you tell me they're not crying? And I answered him, you're right. One day they can cry. 30 days you can't cry. 30 days to feel you miss Alan for 30 days. I can't think about it. It kills me thinking about it. Right? And it's not king. After 30 days, okay, the Ikar Avelis is over, so a person can accept it. But till that time, you can't accept it. And you should be crying. Elavos, it doesn't bother me. But by Alan, it bothered me. Because Shalom Bayis and all the other things that the men and women had together, and they needed Alan for that. That was the problem. Okay. Okay. And the people got tired. They didn't get tired of the derech. Let's understand. That didn't change. You never got tired from walking. Your feet never got tired. Your shoes didn't wear out. Clothes didn't wear out. No problem. So why am I tired? Why am I upset? Because you thought we were almost there. 40 years we're going in the midbar. We're almost there. And then Edom tells us we can't go. Who cares? Who's Edom? Let's knock them off and then we'll go right through them. We can't. God says we can't. Now we got to go all the way around Eretz Edom. That's a pain in the neck. And people get tired. And I add the fact that they saw that Miriam and Aaron are dead and Moshe is the only one left of them, and we still have extra trip now. We're not going directly in there. We have to go around. Who knows where Moshe will be at that time? And that's where they got scared. So there's no kasha why they started saying things that it's not right to say. What can you say? Okay. Yeah. Now the idea of lechem hakloikel. I don't know about you young guys. You look on the cereal boxes, cold cereal, and it says how much bran you have and how much fiber you have, right? 10 G's fiber, 5 G's fiber. Mashma fiber is agute zach, right? What is fiber? Fiber is the stuff you go to the bathroom with. Now what? But it instead of having a diarrhea, it solidifies what you have to go out. So basically it keeps you healthy. Because if you wouldn't have fiber, you'd end up with cancer. Okay? That's the way the Rebbeinu made the world. On the other hand, the Rebbeinu made that there's no excess. The only thing that goes into your body is everything that you need. The vitamins, the things, everything that's in the mon, like the mother didn't go to the bathroom for 40 years. You didn't have to go. It doesn't have any fiber. So now, all of a sudden, it's not healthy. Right? And all of a sudden, they're getting scared. It's not healthy. So they're saying, you're looking for complaints. You have complaints. You didn't bother you for 40 years, so all of a sudden you have a problem with it. But FLP came. It's something to complain about. When you want to complain, you find something to complain about. Yeah. So what did the Rebbeinu Shem do? He sends snakes that bit them and killed them by poison and so on. And he came back to Moshe Rabbeinu and said, we're sorry, we spoke the wrong words. And Moshe received the leader of Klal Yisrael. They said bad things about Moshe. They spoke against Moshe. On the other hand, when they need him, they come to him, and what does he do? He forgives them. He doesn't say, oh, you and I, when you need me, now that you need me, I'm not going to do it for you. No. You need me, I'm there for you. I'm the leader. That's what the point of what I am. And that's what he does. A lot of Jews die. So what does the Rebbeinu Shem say? I want you to make a snake out of copper. And you ever see the doctor's symbol of being a doctor? It's the snake on top of a stick. Okay, that's the symbol of being a doctor. Okay, the snake is the cure. It cures everything. Look at the snake and you'll be healthy. Be well. You all know, let me ask you guys, know the song, the Mishnah? What does the Mishnah say? What's Mechaya? The snake is Mechaya? It's a song. And whether you know the Mishnah or not, I don't expect you to. But the song I expect you to know. Okay. So what's the song? It says that the Rebbeinu Shem is when you look to God, a snake doesn't cure anything. Look to God. So I always had a Geisha Kasha. Chizkiyahu hid the snake, or broke the snake. Why? Because the people were making it into an Avodah Zarah. Right? You can take a look at the snake, it cures you, so it's an Avodah Zarah. Right? That's what cures us, the snake, not God. Okay. According to this Mishnah, with that attitude, were they saved or not? No, they died. So the only ones that got saved were the ones that believed in God. How's it going to become an Avodah Zarah? All the guys that didn't believe, that they thought the snake is what's curing them, will die. And the ones that think so will never become an Avodah Zarah, so what was the problem? Right? So this is my theory. Guys give brachas. It helps. Maybe it helps, maybe it doesn't help. Right? But somebody hears that the bracha helped that person, he'll come to get a bracha. And then I got that he's coming to get a bracha, I'm coming along with you to get a bracha. So all of a sudden you got a lineup that wants a bracha. Right? But you don't know if it works. So why are you here? A suffix is good enough. That's what we see from the Nachash. It's 50% it works. It's good enough. Maybe it'll work for me too. It didn't work for everybody. Obviously the ones who thought that the snakes cures you died. So it didn't work for them. It only worked for the guys that looks for Hashem. So if that's it only look for 50% of the people. I'll be Cain, I'm going to try it. And I'll make it a God. That the snake that cures me. And he's going to die. But he's still going to go in there with the attitude the snake is going to kill me. That's the problem. Okay. Okay. And they first sang the song for the Be'er if the Moshe and Aaron are going to die for it. And the Shiva learns that when we do a shyness, so by shyness it says there, remember the rock that the Moshe Rabbeinu hit and gave water. Which time? It was the first time or the second time? So the Shiva learns it's the second time, and he brings the eyes from the Psukim that it seems that here also that we're bragging about the thing that, you know who made this bear? It's the Seforim, the leaders of Klal Yisrael who gave their lives for it. That's who gave us this water. And that's the big zach. So Rosh Hashiva learned, because the Aveira of a tzaddik like Moshe is a schus for us. Shayla didn't understand, what does that mean? How can Aveira be a schus? You can say, he's a big man, but he's still an Aveira, so what are you going to say? The difference is, we understand the Aveira that Moshe and Alan did was not an Aveira. The Reuven Shlit made it, that's going to happen. He made it, he infiltrated them a cup. He made it that they spoke to the wrong rock. They made it that this. Therefore, there was a tumult. He was picking on them, right? So we understand that. So a person can be so great that the only chet that the Reuven Shlit has is one that he made them do. That's the only Aveira. How great can a person be? That's how big Moshe was. And if Moshe is that big, that's the biggest schus for us. That we could, with such a person who was born like any other person, can reach such madrege, then all of Klal, the whole world for all time should be redeemed because of that person. And that's Moshe Rabbeinu. That's the way I think he learned. Yeah. Okay. They come to Aaron, and Aaron don't want to let him go through, and he's not as polite to Aaron as he was to Edom. Edom was pleased, and this. To Aaron, he says, "We want to pass through your land, and we'll pay you for it. Let us go. You're not passing my land." So what did Klal Yisrael do? He just knocked them off. No more Sicha. Right? Okay. And he took all the cities. Now, why didn't they take the cities before or later? I don't know. But here, obviously, because of the sheep and because others would have the further said it in Matthias, that the Bnei Reuven and Bnei Gad came, and what he called, and they asked for the land, what he called. But till then, the land was really not Klal Yisrael's. It was empty. Nobody was there, so they were living there. So they moved in. Okay. Then they came, and the Bensham wanted them, he said, Moshe Rabbeinu, he sends Vayesh Yisrael Be'eretz HaMoed, Vayishlach Moshe l'Ragel Asyaza ve'el Kidor b'nei Yisrael v'Yirushalayim. They inherited this also. And Rashi says, who inherited them? The Shluchim. I don't know how many guys he sent to check out the land. Whoever it was, they themselves defeated the whole country. And then all of a sudden they take over Oig's land too. Now the Shail of Oig, where is Oig and where is Edrei? I really don't know. Because here it seems to be that they went to Edrei, came out to war in Edrei. The other places it says that his kingdom is in Edrei. His capital is Edrei. So what is it? I don't know. But whatever it is, we defeated Oig. And the question we have, it says over there, don't be afraid of him, right? Because he has a schus. Don't worry about the schus. What is the schus? The schus was, he came by Yovei HaPolit, by Yagid LaAvram, and he told Avram that Lot was captured, right? And therefore he hoped that he would go to war. Now, you're talking about Avram Avinu. Look at the impossibility of the thoughts that go in there. Avram Avinu, he has only one guy with him, Eliezer. They're going to attract, the minimum is 185,000 soldiers, but the Gemara learns the Rosh Gaisius, it's 5 billion people. So you have 2 guys against 5 billion, but even if 2 guys against 185,000, they're going to win. So what was the thing there? What was the Hava meaning? Elavos, I guess, he figured a nest happened to him in Ur Kasdim. He was thrown into Kivshan Eish and he walked out. So going against a big army, he also defeated. Why would he defeat it? You're talking about saving Lot. At that moment, Lot he had a plan, a part of the plan of spreading the Yediyas Hashem in the world. Lot was his partner, technically. They separated for a while because of what he called. But if Lot's not around and he's not going to do the work and he's not going to help me and he's not going to be my Yerush because I don't have any children myself, so then I'm lost. So I got to have it. So he figured maybe, okay, he's going to go to war against the Olaima. Okay, maybe. Okay. But Shaila is, what is the schus? Rashi brings down over there that he was hoping he's going to go to war, and he'll get killed, and therefore he'll be able to marry Sarah. So he all that he did was not for the benefit of Avram, it was for his own benefit. So why should he be afraid of him? So we learn an interesting thing, that a goy, if he does something good, the Rebbeinu Shem doesn't count his motive. And if something good comes out of his action, even though he meant something bad, he will get schar for it. Okay? So we have a kasha then. Okay? We all learn that Lachas Hayomim, Rome, and the Greeks will come and have a complaint that you owe us for all the bridges and marketplaces and cities that we built. Why? We built it for ourselves. But we were able to have yeshivas, able to travel better. Guys going from one yeshiva to another yeshiva. It was, I helped the yeshivish world. So therefore I get schar for that. And the Ben Shem said no. So what's the difference between that one and this one? So I think the difference is this. Over here, in the end, he got nothing for himself. What was happened, Lot was saved. And whatever his plans were about Sova and this and that didn't happen. On the other hand, by the Greeks and the Romans, they built the cities for themselves. They didn't build them for us. And they got usage of them for many years. And therefore, and we also got usage. But since they got their usage, they can't claim credit for it because there's nothing that would technically that we got alone without them. And therefore, that's why I hold it that there is no schar for that. Okay. We'll talk about later on how did the Chotzi Shevet Menashe get involved in the Reuven and God thing. We won't find that they're mentioned in anything, whatever it is. But we know that they got all of Eretz Oig. You ever see a map of Eretz Yisrael, the old time maps? So the land of Chotzi Shevet Menashe is so big, it's bigger than half of Eretz Yisrael, right? And we're like, why? It's not that many people. So obviously we'll have to talk about that. I'll get up, I think they'll be over Matis, I'm afraid. Have a good Shabbos, everybody. I'm out. Shabbos. Very well, everybody. Very nice and everything. Good Shabbos. Everyone's up in the camp, are you?
Good Shabbos.
Shabbos.
Good Shabbos. Shabbos.
Thing, Shabbos, he had the Ura box. Okay. Where's my driver?
Does the Rebbe familiar with the art scroll introduction to the Talmud? Art scroll is safer, the introduction to the Talmud.
The one that Rebbe saw yesterday. The art
Oh,
introduction.
to the Gemara.
Is that considered a safer, or does it have been safer?
It's a sefer. It's brought down in the Gemara. Open up your first volume of Shas and you'll find it there. And now you find it. It's a stories, it's a history, it's a this, it's a that. Okay. Anything wrong with that? And what's your problem? In my set, it's the first volume. So if I don't have it, I don't have number one. So I have to have my set.
No, but let's say somebody wants to read it.